saw back there a couple of hundred people that were sitting there being processed. But they've right now, the Biden administration has sped up their processing so that they can process an illegal immigrant in about 2 minutes. They are sending 40 or more buses a day, full buses, full of illegal immigrants, to detention facilities. So as fast as they scan them in, they pull out a phone, they scan their documents, they take whatever they say, name, age, what country you're from, and boom, they put them on a bus and send them to facilities. To give you a sense, the facilities here can hold roughly 4,600 people. Yesterday they had 7,000. So you know what they did? They had to release hundreds of people, just release them into the communities. And you know, a minute ago you asked about what other states are doing for South Texas. I appreciate that. Because, look, South Texas is bearing the brunt of this. What the Biden administration is doing to South Texas is wrong. The hospitals here are full. The prisons here are full. The schools here are full. The farmers and ranchers see the dead bodies every day from this travesty. And all Joe Biden wants to do is have more people come illegally.
What are you
saying? You have voted down multiple times different policies. So what have specifically the Republican members that are here today, what have you all done to help Joe Biden in this year that you all have waited for?
All right, so that's a ridiculous and silly question. I want to commend you for being the media and telling a Democrat policy. So let me ask you something.
Come on, man, that's been going on for 20 years.
Okay, hey, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. What rate of illegal immigration did we have in 2020? Do you know anything? I asked you a question. Do you know anything?
How long have you been in office?
I've been in office 11 years now.
And this has been kicked the count during multiple administrations.
Except you're okay. You don't get to argue with me. You asked your question. You asked your question. You don't get. You want to hold a press conference? You can do it over there.
You have multiple.
You want to hold a press conference? You can do it over there.
How are you?
So hold on. I'm going to answer his question. The talking point of the Democrats, which this media reporter happily parrots, is, gosh, the problem can't be fixed. There's one little problem with that. It is an utter and complete lie. In 2020, the last year of the Trump presidency, we had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. You ask, what have I done? I've championed the men and women of Border Patrol. I've championed securing the border. I've championed Remain in Mexico. And we turned this problem around and solved it. And we went from Joe Biden inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. And the first day in office, he made political decisions to cause this problem. And you should be ashamed of yourself because you're a reporter and you're not reporting facts. You're telling lies. Joe Biden made a political decision and they turn a blind eye. If you want to know just how much they turn a blind eye, 6 weeks ago in the Judiciary Committee, I questioned Alejandro Mayorkas. I put up a poster board of colored wristbands. And I asked him, Mr. Secretary, what are these colored wristbands? And he said, I don't know. I have no idea. That was the one bit of his testimony that truly shocked me because just about every illegal immigrant who crosses the border is wearing a colored wristband. They correspond to how many thousands of dollars the immigrants owe the cartels. And the fact that Mayorkas doesn't even know what they are, if you stand on the banks of the Rio Grande River, as I have done many times, you see hundreds or thousands of these wristbands laying in the ground. Sir, I don't know if you stood there, but I know Mayorkas hasn't because he didn't know what the wristbands were. And that means he hasn't talked to the Border Patrol agents either. It is immoral. And when those kids cross, the teenage boys who owe thousands of dollars to the cartels, the Biden administration flies them to every city in America. They fly them to Kansas. And there those teenage boys are forced to work for the Mexican drug cartels committing crimes to pay off the money they owe. And if they don't pay it off, they'll murder their families. And I'll tell you, as bad as the boys have it, the girls have it worse. There are thousands upon thousands of teenage girls trapped in sex slavery. And yet, for those of you in the media who don't report on that, you should be ashamed. This is evil. And the reason you don't see any Democrats here is they can't defend this. They're counting on the press not to cover it. It's wrong.
Thank you very much.
Senator Cruz, the El Paso shooter called it an invasion.
Thank you.
Thanks. I just want to make a closing comment here, if I could. As a physician, I took an oath to heal the sick. And I certainly want us to do our part. But then as an officer in the military, now as a senator, I've taken an oath to defend this country and to make sure she's safe. Right now, the number one most immediate threat to our national security is this open border. And that's why I've called on the House to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. He's derelict in his duties. I'm calling on Joe Biden to come see this problem for himself. We can solve this problem. And I want to bring Brandon back up here 1 second. Brandon, if you could tell Joe Biden there's one thing that we need to do. Do you need more troops? Do you need more technology? What do you need to do for us to secure this border?
The American public should not shoulder this burden. We do not need more resources. We don't need more technology. We don't need more infrastructure. We have to have policy. We have to go back to the rule of law. If we have policy, we can secure the border tomorrow. He won't give it to us.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have time for questions?
Let's do some questions.
Okay, we'll do a couple.
Yeah, we'll do a few questions. Yeah, all right, we'll do some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Senator Marshall, you just witnessed, you got a case of the humanitarian crisis here at the border. What is your state in particular, your district area, what will you do after this to help aid border towns like this one?
Yeah, I think that Kansas has always shouldered their fair share of the responsibility. Going back to the Vietnam War, we've invited thousands of people into Kansas. A lot of the NGOs here are connected to people back in Kansas as well. But I'm telling you, we're all overwhelmed right now. This is unsustainable.
Senator Marshall, how many people did you see back there when you were touring?
John, you want to take it?
Well, I think yesterday they had something like 3,300 come across, and that's before, the change in policy. Title 42, of course, expires tonight. So we're understanding that could easily double after Title 42 expires. And so that's the point we're making. You've got to change policy. They're already overwhelmed. You've already got a border crisis. So we've got to see a change in policy. And that was the question put to Brandon Judd. The CBP and Border Patrol, they could get control of this right now. But they've got to have the tool to do it. You need the change in policies that I talked about, the remain in Mexico, the third safe country. You've got to make sure that people who want to apply for asylum do it from their country or the first safe country they come to, and then we will have control of the border. That's what needs to happen, and it needs to happen.